We're from the town with the great football team. We cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey guys, welcome to Picksburgh. My name is Anthony. I appreciate you joining me for another one of these sports card investing videos. With me is my homeboy, Nate Dizzy, aka Every Day I'm Hustlin. If you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, his link's going to be in the description down below. Highly encourage you to go over there. He and I do a show over on his channel as well, and he does some really awesome sports card content, some of the best on YouTube. So again, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Go over there and smash that button. But also, my analytics tell me that a lot of you guys aren't subscribed to me either. So there's that big red button there that says subscribe. Go over there and give it one of them Danielson crane kicks. But without further ado, Nate and I each have 3 players that we're really high on that we think once they hit the Hall of Fame, their card values are going to go up. So 3 of these players are already confirmed 2020 Hall of Famers, and another 3 players are players that Nate and I think are locks for the Hall of Fame, and we think that since their card values are low now, you can go and get them and get a nice little boost whenever they hit that Hall. So without further ado, the first guy we want to introduce is none other than DWade himself, DWade, one of the best shooting guards of all time. In fact, I think there's only 2 people better at his position than him, and one of those 2 players is going to be on this list. Spoiler alert. But I definitely think DWade is one of those players that has really cemented himself. You know what I mean? He's won multiple championships. He's won with and without LeBron James. And really, he's been one of those players that's transcended the sports. He's a generational talent. And I think that people are going to look at that draft. You know, he came out the same year as Chris Bosh, the same year as LeBron James, the same year as Carmelo Anthony. You know, these are all players that were all-time greats, and DWade, you know, definitely holds a place. And I definitely think once he hits the Hall of Fame, you're going to see his card prices go bonkers, and he's very undervalued right now. I was able to pick up a raw one of his cards for less than $50, you know, and once that comes back, PSA 10 or PSA 9, that thing is going to just go through the roof. So there's definitely a great opportunity to buy a lot of these players we're going to be talking about today, guys. Who's number 2 on the list, Nate? Who do you have for us?
I got KG, Kevin Garnett, one of the first players to go from high school to the pros. Quality player, played a bunch of years, won championships, multiple all-star appearances. Probably one of the first guys, probably from the stretch 4, to really start stretching it out and really start being able to shoot that long jump shot and stuff like that. So he was one of the first, him and another guy on our list was one of the first to really start stretching out towards that 3-point line.
Absolutely, man. I definitely think his prices are low, man. Like I picked up a PSA 9 of his Flair metal for like $21, bro. It's like, are you serious? Like that's like heavy disrespect to my man KG. He's definitely one of the best that ever did it, especially at his position.
Yeah, and the metals are the ones that you want to look for too. So those are the type of cards that typically have a lower pop and everything and harder to find. So if you can get those in a good grade, definitely a good pickup.
Absolutely. The next guy I'm going to talk about actually comes from the same era. Most people consider it junk wax, but this I consider my childhood. I consider it nostalgia. You know what I mean? I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so these are the cards that I remember collecting as a kid. But the next guy, man, he's one of the best that ever did it. He's hitting the Hall of Fame this year. We're talking about Kobe Bryant. His card prices have already seen an influx. A lot of it's probably due to his untimely death, unfortunately. But there's still a lot of room for Kobe's prices to go up because when it comes down to it, in my opinion, Kobe Bryant is the 3rd best basketball player to ever live. You know what I mean? And really the only 2 people that are ever going to be considered better, in my opinion, are named Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But I mean, Kobe Bryant is right there in that conversation with those guys. So if you look at what Michael Jordan's card prices are doing and you look at what LeBron's prices are doing, and LeBron's still playing, So when you consider that Kobe Bryant is in a conversation with those two guys, why would his cards not also do the same thing? Now, what you're going to want to do with Kobe, he's in that era where, again, you can get nice prices raw. So if you can go out and you can find some nice Kobe rookies on the low, and you can get them to grade high, because a lot of the junk wax stuff doesn't come back super great grades. You know what I mean? Like there's not a tremendous amount of PSA 10s that survived the 80s and 90s or even older than that. So if you're able to identify some of these older cards and you can get them raw and you can send them into PSA, you can really make chunky profits that way, guys. But I definitely think eventually, especially when pops come into account, because the 90s is completely oversaturated with cards. But then again, that oversaturation is not like a PSA graded thing, because in the 90s, grading cards wasn't what it is today. You know what I mean? Now you might see a huge population on PSA graded Luka or PSA graded Zion. You're not going to see that with Kobe Bryant or any of those older players. So the key here is getting those cards in good condition, get them graded, because then you do have a lower population of that rookie card. But I definitely think Kobe's going to see a big time increase in his long-term card values.
Definitely. I mean, one of the best scorers ever to do it. High school to pro, amazing person on and off the basketball court. And because he's passed away, all of his stuff is already jumping off the with crazy prices right now. So look for them short prints. Look for those low pop inserts. Get those things graded, and those will continue to climb over and over and over as the legacy of Kobe continues.
Absolutely. And I definitely think he's going to be one of those guys that we're going to talk about forever.
My number 4 guys on the list today is going to be Vince Carter, one of the most amazing dunkers that ever touched the floor. Played a bunch of years. He just retired from Atlanta this year. Played some great basketball with Tracy McGrady and a bunch of other guys. He won a championship against LeBron with Dirk and Jason Terry and a few other guys.
My heart.
I know. I didn't like that game either, so I'm with you on that one. You know, just an amazing athlete on the court, and that's why he was able to play as long as he was. And honestly, when players have that athleticism and rely on it for him to play that long and to change his game up that for that long to basically build up a 3 or better 3 than he had in his early days and keep playing, it was pretty remarkable, honestly, because look at a lot of guys that have some injuries or have issues with stuff like that, and then their career is a lot shorter. So it's very amazing to see that he was able to play at such a high level for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. I mean, that dude's definitely, in my opinion, first ballot Hall of Fame. He changed the game. You know what I mean? He put basketball on the map in Canada. Canada is historically a hockey town. You know what I mean? Like the country's all about hockey. But I mean, there's such a craze in Canada over basketball, which we just saw when the Raptors won the championship with Kawhi just recently. But all that started with Vince Carter. You know what I mean? Like, he is pop culture in Canada. You know, shout out to Thrifties right now. You know, he's probably getting all fired up like, yeah, Vince Carter.
Let's go.
The guy I want to talk about next is my man, Tim Duncan. Is going into the Hall of Fame this year, and it's long overdue, because Tim Duncan, like, he may be the greatest power forward / like center position, because he had that flexibility where he could play either. He may be the best that ever did it. You know what I mean? He was solid. Like, if you look at the consistency the Spurs franchise had throughout their dynasty, and just the time he was in the league, like, he was that stopgap from the time David Robinson was the leader of that team all the way to the time he retired. You know, and then he instilled in all of the guys that came through, like, look, this is how you are to be a San Antonio Spur. So not only was he like one of the greatest that ever did it on court, but he was super valuable for them off the court too. So I definitely think Tim Duncan's prices are going to be going up pretty nicely. I've been picking up a lot of his graded rookie cards lately, but he's in that era where you can get his cards dirt cheap if they're not graded. I got a SGC 9 Tim Duncan rookie card for $10 at auction. I was like, are you kidding me? I will absolutely take that. And it was a short printed insert card.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I will absolutely take that for $10.
Yeah, that's like the exact checklist you're looking when you're buying cards of these guys. Is it a short print? Is it hard to find? Is it a 9 or a 10? Boom, I want it. So that was an easy buy for you.
Absolutely.
Number 6 on our list is probably the second favorite player of mine through Hoop, Dirk Nowitzki, a white boy from overseas. He came over and changed the league.
You sure did.
Dramatically. I mean, he turned basketball where there were shacks and all these big centers to now we have the stretch 5. So amazing to see how a person like that came over from overseas, played a different type of ball, was an amazing shooter, sort of like a Larry Bird back in his prime, shooting corner threes, fades, all that type of thing, and just playing very productive basketball from a very young age. I think he played close to 20 seasons in the NBA, has a championship like we're talking about with Vince Carter when they beat the Heat. Just an amazing, amazing player. Probably one of the top 3-point shooters that ever done it as well.
Especially his position.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. I think Dirk changed the game. He actually paved the way for the Lukas, for the Porzingises, for the Denny, Avdia, or whatnot, for all of these international guys that are coming over and really just making a splash in the NBA. I definitely think that Dirk's prices are definitely going to see a nice little bump when he hits the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for what KG did for Kobe and others to coming from high school to the pros, just like you said, Dirk did that for these other guys overseas and everything. And now look what they're doing. If you look at the league from overseas players to guys that are from, the United States or whatever, it's probably pretty close mix, 60-40 type thing. If you really look back and think of some different draft classes and stuff like that, because when they do that USA versus world game, it's about half and half, you know what I mean? So it's amazing to see that they're finding talent over the world, and basketball is just not in the United States, type of game where we just dominate it, and everyone from different skill sets, different cultures can have a little bit different game, but it's still just an amazing thing to see all put together.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I definitely appreciate you joining us. Do me a favor, down below in the comments, let us know what players would be on your list, because I'm always looking for players that I can go out there, scoop on the cheap, and see a nice return on my investment. So any and all players that you guys are picking up, regardless of whether it's basketball or other sports, let us know, because Nate and I are always looking for good buys. So we'd definitely appreciate that. Let us know about the list we put together, what you thought about it. And guys, do us a favor, hit that like button. We'd really appreciate that. Guys, one more thing that I forgot to mention that is really cool. If you haven't already, I'm going to have it in the link below. Nate and I just started a brand new Facebook group. It's Sports Card Investing, Buy, Sell, Trade. It's a great group where you can go and you can share your opinions on sports cards. You can sell stuff. You can trade stuff. You can buy stuff at a better rate than you would get on eBay, because people in the hobby take care of each other. It'll be a great place to connect with me and Nate. Nate will be offering submissions to PSA. I also do some SGC stuff. So if you guys are interested in connecting with us, that's the place to do it. And until next video, we hope you take it easy. God bless.